Good morning, everybody. It's Tuesday, so we're a couple minutes late, but your favorite hosts, the Double Trouble, Tim and Tim V squared, we're back again for another week of exciting conversation, trying to hype us up a little bit. And this
Yeah, I
week,
like
we're
it.
talking about goals. It's the end of Q3. We got one quarter left, so we're going to do a little check-in on our goals today. Tim, how you feeling about your goals?
I feel pretty good. We had a little circle up before this, and looked at a couple of things, and we're exceeding some, a little short on the others, but that's what goals. That's what happens with goals, right?
Well,
So
when I was at the Mark Evans DM event, I actually really enjoyed one of the presenters talk was like he hates when people call them goals because they're really their targets. And
yeah,
targets, they continue to move, right? The goalpost continues to move. So he calls them targets. Hey, what's up, Facebook user? We don't know who you are, but maybe you should allow StreamYard to show your name so then we could tell who you are. But yeah, so targets. We set some really aggressive targets for this year and obviously they're all written down. Funny thing, this is probably like the only thing I write down. I have so many notebooks of things that I need to like I always want to take down notes, but I never do because then I forget about what I wrote down. But if I
I
just
got notes. Maybe that should be
oh,
my goal for next year, right?
get organized.
Get a note. I'm organized. I know
Yeah,
exactly where everything is in that pile.
it's an organized chaos. It's
And
funny
it's
is my wife will move something on me and I will remember where I put it, but then she moved it and I can't find it. And I was like, I knew exactly where it was. It was
yeah.
organized.
I know where everything is in this office.
Oh boy. Yeah. All right, cool. So it's the end of Q3. October 1st is coming up faster than you know. So there's 90 days left in the year. So we're going to talk about the goals that we set at the beginning of the year, the things that we are achieving, the things that we're not achieving, what we plan on doing differently, what we've learned from it. We're just going to talk about where we are. I mean, this has been an explosive growth year. Here, we'll throw this up on the rocket ship for us. Really excited about it. With Tim left his job, I left my job. So then we were able to focus on this 100% of the time. And it's been really awesome. So, all right. Do you want to start? Or do you want me to start?
Hey, I got a question I'll start real quick, but I got a question
Mm,
for you. You
yeah.
mentioned you left your job,
Hmm.
and don't get too specific because I don't like to share. It's up to you, but I don't personally like to share too many numbers. But you left your job, and natural reaction when people leave their jobs is people are like, "Dude, how are you going to make money? Like, how are you gonna live?" So this year, man, like you left the salary. How you doing this year? Like,
Oh, man. So, yeah, I left a six-figure job. I mean, I say it all the time. It was about 150 grand a year with bonuses and profit sharing and all that other kind of stuff. And, doing really well this year. We bought a lot of property that's paying us acquisition fees. We have a couple properties that actually pay us quarterly because they're meeting the prefs and hitting the equity splits. So the cash flow is starting to grow. We have our coaching program that is doing really well. We have our Discord channel. We have a lot of different things. And when I left my job, which is September 22nd of last year, so just a year ago now, I didn't know how I was going to make money, but I was able to focus on things that I wanted to focus on. And in time and effort, the money came. So I'm doing better than I was at my W-2 job. We'll put it that way. And no regrets of leaving my job. And, it is what it is. And I'm very appreciative of the opportunity that I've had. And it was a lot of risk and a lot of stress. I mean, this time last year was so stressful for me trying to figure out where I was going to live and sell my house and make money and quit my job. And, it was a whirlwind of emotions. But my goal when I quit my job was to put my head down and work for 12 months straight and not do anything else, though I did do some traveling and I spent some time on the boat. Um, all I wanted to do was build the businesses. And I think we were very successful in doing just that.
yeah, I would agree. So hey, well done, by the way, because he is right. Like, I mean, yeah, you travel, you spend a little time on the boat, but you got to have some balance, right?
Right.
Um, but yeah, man, you've been killing it. And so somebody mentioned yin and yang a minute ago. So yeah, like the way Vitali did approached his exit for the W-2 world was very much different than mine.
Yeah.
Mine was mine was 4 years in the making, and then 2 years with targeted, effort. But same thing. Left in April, and removing what I made in my W-2 this year, my former W-2. I'm on track. I think I told somebody at the Birth 360. I think I'm on track this year to 3x my W-2 salary.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
can't
that
complain
does make
about
sense.
that at all, man. No,
Mm-mm.
no.
Hell no.
But you know what got us there? Goals,
Goal,
goals.
targets got us there. I mean, I actually I spoke at an event last week, Mike Wingard's event down in Hilton Head, and we were talking about mindset and decision making and setting goals and targets and all that kind of stuff. And I was talking about how people like to make a target of so many different things. And I'm like, just focus on one thing at a time, right? I mean, it's good to have multiple things because it's continually growing and changing, but focus on one thing at a time, because my brain works very simply. Where does this get me closer to my goal? Yes, no. If yes, do it. If no, don't do it. Like for me, that's very easy. I don't have to sit here in my brain and waffle back and forth if I'm going to do this or what's this going to be, what's that situation going to be. I don't try to think of every outcome for every decision that I ever make. It just do I think at this point in time, does it get me closer to my goal? Yes, then do it.
Yeah,
And if
yeah,
something is like aching at me, like, kind of like, oh, I really don't want to do this, then I know that I have to do it. I have to eat the frog first thing in the morning, because it's going to get me closer to my goals faster. And it's always the things that you potentially don't want to do, or they feel scary, or they're outside of your comfort zone. Those are the things that are going to get you closer to goal faster.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm trying to get outside the comfort zone for sure. And you had a couple of aggressive ones.
Oh yeah.
So why don't we pick two? Like, let's pick an aggressive one you hit, and let's pick an aggressive one you missed.
Oh, all right. So here's an aggressive one that I missed. Well, yeah, all right. Yeah. This is an aggressive one. Well, I kind of missed this one. Yes and no. Okay. So here, I'm reading off the top piece. My number one goal that I wanted to achieve was 1,000 doors by 12/31/2022, with a 10% average ownership in each deal. Because if I could do that, then each one paid me $100 a month, and I'd meet my $10,000 a month passive income goal, right? That doesn't really work for us in the Carolinas, because it's not like on a one, the price per door is so high. So instead, what I did is I broke it down into how much money in value in assets did I want to have by the end of the year. So remember, this is the end of September. I wanted to have $60 million in acquisitions, because $60 million in acquisitions at 75% leverage with 10% ownership would mean $1.5 million in equity. And if that was cash flowing at 8 to 10% per year, that would get me to my $10 to $15,000 per month goal, right? So I changed it to $1 million, millions instead of door count, because I think that that's a little more meaningful. So where did we land this year to date? What we have physically closed on, I missed it. 27.6 million. Missed it.
And you wanted, and that's what we've closed on today.
Well, yeah. So that's to date. We have another deal that's closing. Well, it was supposed to close yesterday, so I'm a little bummed that it didn't. But we were supposed to close yesterday. We're going to end up closing by the end of the week for another 10 million. So that brings me up to $37.8 million in acquisitions this year so far. We still have
Yep.
another two deals under contract, including those two deals in contract that we are definitely going to be closing on. Brings me up to 48.9. So call it 49 million in acquisitions, and my target was 60. So Tim, we got to go out and get another $10 million deal, close on that.
Hey, so if you're listening and you have something in a couple of things or one thing in the $5 to $11 million range,
Yep, let's go. And,
these two
and
guys,
I need to
these
buy
two
another
guys.
$10 million deal this year, guys.
Okay, but
Um,
but 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 one thing, because I happen to have a little inside information here. Um, you were on target, actually. You were on target, right? Now you were you actually ready to blow it away. Um, and we won't get into too much detail on this, but we had something that we were looking at that was more in the 29 million range.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, we did. We walked away from a 29, call it $30 million deal on Friday, and that would have met and surpassed the target in a huge way.
Yeah, you would have been easily 78 million this year.
Yep. And that was just acquisitions this year. I mean, if we included the stuff that we bought last year, we'd be at
Well over.
58.4
Yeah,
without the $30 million deal. If we did include the $30 million deal, 58 plus 30, 88 million. So call it 90 million. We would have been 90 million if we closed on that $30 million deal by the end of the year. So I think it was aggressive. I'm still kind of amazed at what we bought. It's kind of wild. We're still closing on a couple deals. I mean, the last 6 weeks have just been closing.
yeah.
We got another one coming up, and then we got 2 more closing next month. And then I think I might take a break. But another key metric that I wanted to talk about, that was something I said I wanted to have 10% ownership in every deal that I did. Well, I fucking crushed that. The way that we've been able to find our deals and structure them and provide value to our investors and really find some really awesome deals, my average ownership of every deal that we closed this year across the board is 32.64% average. And I only wanted to do 10% average.
Nice. Very nice.
So I tripled that goal. So that kind of makes up for the dollar value of the stuff that we didn't buy, which I'm okay with.
Hey, and just so we're all clear, because I know we all get at conferences and stuff when we talk about what's your real number. So is that your GP or is that your overall ownership?
That's my overall of the total deal ownership, not my GP ownership.
Dude, that's impressive. You own over 30% of everything you're in. That's
correct.
Wow.
Yep.
That's impressive.
Some deals are 13. There's a 26. There's a 23. There's the 100% deal that I bought, the Dogwood Lane apartments that I bought myself, then Centennial, and yeah, a couple different deals. I mean, they've been in the upper echelon, so I'm cool with that. I'm okay with missing my $60 million acquisition target because I tripled the amount of equity ownership that I have, which I'm absolutely cool with.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Where did you fall in this whole scenario?
So, I had a goal. I had 2 goals this year, and we'll talk about one I missed, one I exceeded. So I tracked mine a little bit different. I wanted to close on 10 deals in 2022. So far, I have closed on 9.
Oh, we got number 10 coming up this week, baby.
And 10 this week. And I still have 2 to go under contract that we will close on. So I'll be at 12 by mid-November.
Nice.
So 12, so exceeded that one. The one I missed, you kind of touched on a few minutes ago. I wanted to have closed on $100 million in real estate by the end of this year. Going to be a little short. If I take everything I did last year, everything I've done this year, I'm going to be closer to, that, 72 million dollar range. So a little bit short. Would have nailed it, right, with the one we had under contract.
Mm-hmm.
But that's okay, because sometimes you got to know when to walk away.
Good old! I think of a nice little jingle in my head when you say that.
Yeah,
I know when to fold them.
Yeah, we had to know when to fold that one. And man, that was tough, guys. But at the end of the day, we had to do what we had to do on that. But yeah, so I'm a little short on my overall number, but I exceeded the actual number of properties that I was planning to purchase.
Yeah. And you know what I want to point out, though? We didn't really we closed 2 deals at the beginning of the year. That's it. Like, we closed, the Alabama property in January. Then we closed the Groudon deal in end of February, beginning of March. And then we didn't basically do anything for months.
No.
Didn't do anything.
Yeah, I didn't do anything. And that's, there's something key in there too. Like, because we've had a lot of folks come to us and they're like, man, I've been doing this for like 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, and I haven't done anything. And they're very frustrated. You're going to hit, no matter how long you do this, you're going to hit ebbs and flows like that. We had a really, really strong closeout of 2021. First part of 2021 was like nothing. Then around April, did some stuff. really strong closeout in end of 21, first of 22. But then, like Vitaly said, man, I think we went from like March to what, July,
Yeah. No, we didn't. I didn't. Maybe you closed a smaller deal or something in July. We didn't close another deal until the end of
August.
August.
Yeah,
Yeah. So we basically
yeah. I
went
think
from the beginning of March to the end of August.
yeah, I closed a small quad in July, I think. But other than that, yeah, you're right. I think it was August before we did anything, in the larger range.
Yeah, because that was the 92 unit that we closed towards the end of August. And that
Yeah,
was the first closing since we had done the other Charleston deal,
yeah,
Lansing.
yes. So and folks always look at it as like you did nothing, but man, like this one that we're closing this week, guys, we've had this thing under contract since May. Um,
Yeah.
it's just and it's been a constant pivot. It's been constant working on the deal. So it's always fun when folks are like, "Man, you're really like killing it." And it's like, yeah, but there's a lot going on behind the scenes that you don't see, right? That gets you
Mhm.
to that string of closings.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
So much happens there. Yep. Yeah, we definitely hit like a windfall of deals. We put like 8 deals under contract in like May, June, and July. I was like, "Oh boy."
yeah, yeah. And by the way, this comment's awesome in today's economy. In today's economy, the rates rising. The sellers seem to be living in 22, March 22.
Mhm.
I'd even say some of them are still living in like August of 21. Um, but you're not wrong. The sellers' expectations haven't changed at all.
Yep.
Um, in fact, just this morning, I was looking at something. Somebody asked me to look at something in one of the markets that Tim and I love. But they're like pricing guidance is. I mean, pricing guidance is literally just in March 22 numbers. It's nowhere near today. I mean, I think they're looking at like a 3.2 cap or something, and it's like, guys, the interest rate's 5.5. I mean, how am I going to do 3.2, right? So
Yeah. You know what's funny? I was just kind of looking. Can you hear that feet like the lawnmower guy outside? Oh, he's on the
uh,
roof with a oh boy. Yeah. Anyways,
wait,
he's
wait,
on the
he's
roof
on.
with a leaf blower.
Oh, okay, I was like, he's on the roof with a lawnmower.
Yeah, no, he's he's on the I was trying to think of it. But you know what's funny? I was just looking at this list as you were saying that, and it was just like I pretty much failed at almost all of my goals, but I'm okay with it because we made progress towards each and every one of them.
Yeah. And guys, that's one of the key things, right? Like even the ones that we fell short of, we made progress, right? And quite frankly, I got a mentor who would tell you if you exceed all of your goals or you hit all of your goals weren't aggressive enough.
Well, they were
Um,
doing it right then.
yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a blend in there, right? Like you hit
Mhm.
some, you exceeded some, you fell short on others. That's fine. I mean, if you don't put big goals out there, if you don't put these crazy goals out there, I mean, who knows how far you can go, right?
Right. Yeah,
You
no,
know,
and that kind of segues right into this. It's like, if we didn't have each other to kind of lean on and for support and kind of access to deals and capital and whatever, everything that was necessary, it's absolutely necessary to have a good partnership in order to really kind of exceed your goals or meet your goals. And there's a couple other things in here that, they weren't complete failures, but I missed the goal technically, right? So one of the things was hire executive assistant by March 31st. I did
oh,
that, and then I had to let him go because it didn't end up working out. Grow mastermind or coaching group to 50 students. I think we're at 32. So, didn't meet it, but still okay with it. Host 2 in-person paid for events by October 31st. Well, we're only hosting one event and it's going to be in November. So double miss on that one. But we still did it. We're still doing an event.
but damn, it's going to be a good one.
And damn, it's going to be a good one. I have been talking about that event since the beginning of the year because I had been wanting to do that Porsche thing for so long. Um, Another thing was grow the Facebook group from 1,800 members to 10,000 by the end of the year. We're at like almost 4,000. I think it's 3,900. So we doubled in size, which is great, but we didn't come close to our $10,000 member goal. And then one thing I preach about all the time and I live my life by was Help others with no expectation of return in order to live a fulfilled life. Achieved that fucking goal. I'll tell you that.
Hey, there you go. I like that one. Hey, so I'll talk about one that I missed this year, but I missed it on purpose. I had one I missed this year, which was basically increase my LP investments. And I have the number around here somewhere. It's in that pile.
Yeah,
Um,
I know exactly where everything is in this office.
I do. It's in the pile. But so I wanted to increase my LP investments, and I did, but I think my number was something by like 400,000 or something, and I think I ended up closer to like 150. But I did that on purpose. As the year went on, guys, like as you saw, the economy took a serious shift, right? Well, if you go out there and you talk to guys, and this is a very popular sentiment, everybody's saying the time to be liquid is here. Like you want to be liquid. And I don't disagree with that because there's going to be a lot of opportunity coming up. So, somewhere around the middle of the year, I made a conscious decision to start keeping some capital, right? So that we're ready to pounce on some deals that may be coming, first of the year, middle of next year, things like that. So, rather than employ that on the LP side, I kept that back, and that was a decision I made. So sometimes you miss goals because they change, right? Middle of the year, you got to adjust them.
Well,
Um,
also another thing that some people might not think about that you and I have had a conversation about recently, as well as one of our mentors, Javier. I talked to him about it as well. And my goal was to start investing more as an LP as well, even in my own deals and other people's deals. But what I failed to realize is how fast my net worth was going to go up. And that if I wanted to continue to sign on my own debt so that I can own more and more and more of each deal, then I would need to have the liquidity in my bank account to sign on the loan to qualify as a loan. So like the target kind of changed because I wanted to be an investor, but then I realized, oh, actually, if I want to keep more equity in these deals, then I need to have more liquidity in the bank account in order to qualify. So that also has changed my sentiment towards investing as a limited partner because I need that money
yeah,
to in order to continue providing opportunity for our investors. We have to have the liquidity to sign on the debt. So I can't invest as a limited partner in these deals because then otherwise it cuts off our deal pipeline.
yeah. And speaking of net worth, that was another goal. Uh, I exceeded that one. There's one where I exceeded. I wanted to double this year, and currently I'm about 2.5. So,
Nice.
hey,
Yeah,
all
I have
right.
to say, we were talking about this last night, and you know, not this time last year, but March 2021, I had a negative net worth because my student loans and the debt that I had and all that other kind of stuff. And part of that 2 years in over the night, or was it 2 years in the making overnight success
Yeah,
story? I made the conscious effort to pay off all the debt that we had and pay off my student loans and whatever we had. We just had some student loan. It wasn't like any consumer credit card debt or anything like that. But I had a negative net worth until March of last year, paid off those student loans, and now my net worth is in seven figures. So I guess I've like I don't know, gone from negative to positive seven figures. Like I'm cool with that. I don't know what that is on a multiple basis, but a lot.
hey, we actually have a guy who's, yours is a little bit different. We have a guy coming to the race cars and real estate event in Atlanta in November, who's going to talk about something similar. This is a little bit more extreme, but hey, it's a from broke to millions, right?
Yep.
That kind of that kind of discussion. You mean technically on paper, right? You were negative net worth, and now
Yep.
you're over seven figures. Um,
Well, no,
Man,
not over seven figures. I'm well within seven figures, but the next target, eight
well,
figures.
yeah, you're above the seven figure number, right? The
Yeah.
base seven figure number.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I am an accredited investor now.
Hey, you want to invest in one of my deals? I have a 506c coming up.
Are you a good operator?
Oh, no.
Let me see your underwriting.
What? What's that? I thought you just closed on them and then
And I forgot
they
about it.
they
Seems
miracled
like what
their
everyone
way
else
to.
does. Creates opportunity for us, though.
They You close and then they miracle their way to value add, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, that's all you got to do.
Somebody else's
Um,
problem.
no,
Um,
actually, folks, we have been getting some compliments recently. I don't mean to toot my own horn or our own horn, but toot toot. we got a little bit of a compliment from a lender recently talking about our team's ability to assemble. That was the word. That was the phrase that was used, and it kind of felt good.
Oh, I mean, did
Honestly.
you forget about our call from our favorite broker yesterday? Add that in there too. You
Oh
forgot
yeah,
about that one, yeah.
I forgot about that one. So, our team's ability to assemble when the shit basically hits the fan, we react quickly, we react well, and we get things done. And then, two, like Tim said, and honestly, man, this is on one of those that I'm like, I really don't feel like we've done our best, right? Like, I don't feel like on this one it's been our best performance. Now we have performed and we stuck with it, but the broker called and kind of gave us some kudos. He was like, "You guys continue to be closers, and I appreciate you." And
Mhm.
that meant a lot, especially coming from this guy. I have a
He
lot of
said
respect for him.
oh, so do I, and it was funny. I only every time I see him call, I answer no matter what I'm doing, right? Because
Yeah,
it could be a potential new deal, but yeah, he did. He was like, "You guys are some of my favorite closers to work with," and he called us his highest dollar per hour closers that he has, meaning he doesn't have to do a whole lot. He gets paid because we close on the deal, and he really likes working with us. I was like, "Oh boy, thank you. That's a really nice compliment." And I agree with you. I think the deal that we're closing is something that I would, in my book, write as a failure in
yeah,
terms of execution. But yet, on the other side of the page, where they don't see what's going on internally, they're like, "Dude, you guys are doing amazing." But it kind of just goes to show there's so much that happens behind the scenes, and we've learned a lot from our own mistakes, and we've implemented a lot of change, and we still have a lot to learn. But we're open to learning. We're continually being students forever, so that we can improve our processes, improve
yeah,
the figure, and improve just the overall experience of working with us on the sell side and the buy side.
yeah. And they're all learning experiences, right, man?
Yeah.
Um, this one that we're talking about, it's the one we've had under contract since May. I mean, I have learned so much
Oh,
on this deal, so much. You know, I've I've had so many conversations with the seller, and guys, this has been one of the best sellers I've ever dealt with. He's been very willing to sit down and chat with us, and I've learned so much from him. And so appreciative of that. Made some great connections because of him. This is one of those that's like, man, there's been some ups and downs on this one, but we're going to close. And then the stuff that we just learned along the way has been, I don't know. I mean, I hate to use this term, but I mean, it's truly been kind of priceless.
mhm.
It's given us different ways to look at deals, different ways to look at debt and leverage and structure, and it's just been awesome.
I would honestly go as far and say, would you think that this seller almost set like a role model type figure of how we should strive to be as sellers?
I think so.
Depending on the
Um,
situation, obviously, but,
yeah,
like, it just kind of opened our eyes to see, like, not everyone is this terrible seller that's like, "If you don't perform, I'm gonna pull this and put it back on the market," because the market's changed, right? 'Cause the last 2 years of dealing with that has been difficult, and we made it through, but then this guy was like a breath of fresh air, really, of being able to negotiate with
uh,
him and being reasonable.
yeah. I'll say it this way: I would much prefer us be like him than the other options.
Yeah, of
You know,
course.
I would 100% agree with that. Um,
Mhm. Yeah, I agree.
because I'll tell you what, and we heard this going into it from our favorite broker, or one of our favorite brokers. We heard this going into it. They were like, you'll really appreciate this guy. You'll really appreciate everybody who does a deal with him. They want to do more deals with him. Um, he's definitely one of those sellers that's like, if he has something else coming down the pipe, I will 100% take a look at it.
For
Just
sure.
just to work with him again.
Yeah. All right. So we got 1 quarter left. How do you think we're going to do? I mean, we got a couple more closings peppered for the beginning of the quarter. Not a whole lot happens in the end of November into December, though. We make our best effort. Like hell, if something comes across my desk and it makes a good deal, like I'm still going to be submitting offers. We kind of know our range here and what we're targeting and how we're going to be able to grow and scale. And I'm curious, I'm kind of excited to see how the next quarter goes, what systems and processes and people we can put in place in order to help us achieve to set and achieve 2023 goals. Because double or nothing, baby.
Wait, we're gonna do this much volume next year?
No, less volume, more dollars.
More. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So yes and no.
So, you asking like how we're gonna close out the year?
Just kind of your opinion here.
Yeah. So for sure, we're gonna execute on what we still have under contract. So that's a no-brainer. Execute on those, and then one place I really want to focus. I want to make that race, race cars and real estate event the best thing we can possibly make it.
Yeah.
100%. And then I really want to focus on building my pipeline for 23 and build on the Making Moves group. Really focus on the Making Moves group.
I agree.
Oh yeah, and get that assistant hired for sure.
Yeah. That's a must have. Absolutely must have.
Because guys, one thing I will say is all the stuff Tim and I are talking about here is going to be it's going to be critical to have someone like that to help, because that's one of the things we have noticed, and we've been talking about it a lot for the last month. Is we're literally up against a point where we've got to bring somebody in. So
yeah, I think we realized is that we can't walk away from the business. So we don't really have a business. We have high paying jobs. So we're working on implementing Who's to document these systems and processes and outsource things. And I've exercised muscle, hired a bookkeeper. I got a CPA now that's doing, that took a huge load off my shoulders. So that was kind of the first step in that direction. Now we'll get an executive assistant. I talked to my wife last night about hiring a cleaner because that doesn't make me money. And I hate cleaning. So we'll hire somebody to do that. But it's just really starting to implement these things that we've noticed in personal and business life in order to really focus on the things that matter to us that make us money.
Hey, and one of the things I would bring up too that I really I've had a couple of conversations over the last few days that really kind of strengthened this point with me is really start to connect and reach out to my mentors even more.
Good. You're
Guys,
so good at that, and I need to get better at it.
Guys, over the next 12 to 18 months, I'm not being an alarmist. I think you guys know I hate like the headline news that goes out there and stuff like that, and the panic that creates. But we're already in, and it's going to continue for a while. It's going to be a little tough over the next 12 to 18 months. And if there's anything I learned back in 2008, it was make sure you're aligned with somebody who has experience going through this kind of stuff. And I have mentors that I've aligned myself with, that I've paid for, quite honestly. And I need to make sure that I'm aligned with them, because man, their advice over the next 12 to 18 months is going to be priceless. It's going to be so critical to being successful. So if you don't have a mentor, go out and get one. Find somebody preferably who's been through this before, and get yourself in the room, so to speak.
Yep. And we got one question real quick. So Facebook user says race cars and real estate. Yes, that is the mastermind event that we're doing in November 18 and 19th at the Porsche driving experience in Atlanta, Georgia. We're going to have a couple speakers. We're going to talk about some stuff. We're going to have some good food and a lot of networking. And we're going to drive Porsche 911s on the track with dedicated instructors. So they'll let you go as fast as they feel comfortable letting you go. So the better drivers will go faster. And I'm really excited to do this. I've always wanted to drive on, I love supercars, and in really fast cars and things like that. And, being able to use a car the way that they're built, meant to be built, I think it's going to be a really fun experience. So yeah, November 18th and 19th, reach out to either one of us if you're interested in going to that. So with that, you have any closing remarks?
I really hope they let me get out of third gear.
Well, if those are 911s rev to like 9,000 RPM, so I don't know if you really need to get out of third gear in that car.
You're gonna hear me driving around sounding like a chainsaw wide open, right? Is that all right? So,
all right, guys.
Closing remarks for me. Just guys, get your goal. It's that time of year. Get your goals ready for the rest of the year and going into 2023. Get a mentor. Get your ass to race cars and real estate. It's going to be a great event. If you want to set yourself up for 23, it'll be a great place to be. So
yeah, get in the room with people and build some relationships and network with them. So, all right, great episode today. Looking forward to seeing you guys next week. With that, we're out. Peace.